All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Friday. Happy Friday out there to everyone. September 1st, first day of September, and we got a jam-packed MLB slate to jump into in today's video. Like we always do, we're gonna go through each and every game. I'm gonna give you my lean or leans on the games, but all my final plays, so what I'm actually gonna be rolling with personally, those will be in the pinned comment. If you do want to fade me, you can keep an eye on that pinned comment. I update it throughout the day, always updated by game time, coming off of a nice little mini sweep here. So I guess it's not a full sweep, more of like a mini sweep. We go 2-0 on two totals yesterday. We had the Yankees and the Tiger under 8.5. It went to extras, and I was kind of like, uh-oh, we got some problems here. Cashes with ease. And then with the Braves Dodgers, loved watching that game last night. Over 8, that one cashes with, I shouldn't say with ease, in like the 4th or 5th inning, right? It was 6-1, and then it was home runs galore after that. So we didn't have to sweat it out. It wasn't exactly over in the 4th inning, but nonetheless, it was, I guess you could say, cashed with ease. That game finishes 8-7. The Braves obviously pushed that line themselves. We just needed a few runs from the Dodgers, and the Dodgers come through with 7 runs. So we shall take it. And on an even more positive note, guys, our ride of the day coming in from Fella, pumping some crowd noise, that cashes as well. The Dodgers over 4.5 total runs. They end with 7, like I said. So shout out to Fella there. If you guys do want to be the ride of the day, all you got to use is hashtag ride of the day in the comments. You got to use the hashtag, use that hashtag, drop a banger of a play, an absolute lock, and get a chance to be shouted out in the next video. I jump on board with someone, you get a shout out, win or loss. Good thing we won here because we've been in a dry spell here, so Fella kind of pulled us out of it. And you know what? Give a cha-ching too on the soundboard because we had lost a couple ride of the days in a row. And honestly, on another note here, guys, we won our first college football bet of the season as well. We had Utah minus 5.5, no Cam Rising, no problem. They blow out Florida last night. So a good little Thursday for us overall. And if you do want to, celebrate that or have a good time, make sure to go check out some of the Fade Me gear, guys. It's a way to support the channel and what we're doing here. Really, really good merch. I have the Fade Me Dodge tee on today. But yeah, fademe.store, guys. Go check it out. Great way to support it. And like I said, amazing quality merch. I wouldn't just blow smoke up your you-know-what. This is not just your typical crappy warehouse merch, print on demand. This is actually legitimate stuff. So go check it out, guys. I got a link for that in the pinned comment. And how about enough rambling here? Let's go ahead and jump into game number 1. Only if you've hit that subscribe button. Only if you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, all that good stuff, guys. But let's go ahead and jump into it. We got a doubleheader on our hands to look at before anything else here. We have the Cubs taking on the Reds. You guys know how I feel about doubleheaders. Don't really love them, even though we hit both sides of it. What was it, a week and a half ago with the Diamondbacks? But nonetheless, don't really love doubleheaders here. We don't know who is pitching for the Reds yet, or the Cubs in the second game. So I'm going to judge us in sort of a one-game fashion. I'm only really going to look at the first game here. We have Graham Ashcraft on the mound for Cincinnati, going up against Rowan Wick, who I believe has been released and was a reliever, now brought back here to the Cubs, is starting. So we don't have much data on him, but we have plenty on Ashcraft, and I do think that this is a Cincinnati spot here. You're getting them as plus 105 underdogs at home. Line probably likely to move, if I'm being completely honest. Wouldn't be surprised if by game time they're at minus 105, just because they obviously have the more experienced starter here. But Chicago definitely playing better baseball as of late. That Milwaukee team had been good, and Chicago took 2 of 3 against them. Cincinnati does pull out the late series win there against San Francisco, where they still lost 2 of 3, but they pulled out that late win. But nonetheless, guys, I am just going to trust the more experienced starter in this spot. The offenses, I would say, are kind of on the same playing field as of right now here. Last 10 for both teams against righties have been pretty bad. Cubs 212 in their last 10 against righties here in terms of batting average, and Cincinnati had a 208 average. So give me the under 9.5 as well as Cincinnati on the money line. And I'm not really even going to consider game number 2 in this spot. We might have better pitchers in it, but I don't really love the second half of a doubleheader. So let's move on to the next matchup. All right, we have Washington taking on Miami here. Yesterday, Miami pulls out a big win, 6-1. I do think that this is, I guess, what you would call a tough series altogether. Like, I don't really have much confidence in either team. I leaned towards Miami yesterday. We didn't pull the trigger because they were like minus 170-ish favorites, right? Today, they're kind of back in that same spot. Right now, they're minus 162 as your best, 62 as your best odds over on FanDuel. So I think I actually look at Washington's side of things here, plus 140 for a little bit of a, a high fly value there. They have Jake Irvin on the mound too, though on the season he hasn't been incredible, right? Like, no one's sitting here being like his 4.3 ERA and a nearly 1.4 whip is all that great. But in his last three, 1.45 ERA with a 1.13 whip. Definitely a guy that, as this, I guess you could say Washington team had been playing good baseball, they've kind of fallen off, but at one point they had won 8 of their last 10, and that was within the last week, right? He was one of those guys that was capitalizing on that, a couple wins within there. So I do think that he's pitching well. I don't necessarily see Miami coming in here and killing him. He pitched 6 innings just about a week ago against Miami. 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run, and that earned run was a home run, only letting up 4 hits as well. So he had a decent game, let up a big ball, obviously, but nonetheless, I do see him with the ability to kind of control this Miami offense. He's done it twice on the season already. Again, last game, what we just talked about, but his start against Miami before that was back in mid-June. 5 innings pitched, only 4 hits and 1 earned run as well. 0 home runs there with 2 walks. So I think that he has what it takes to kind of compete with this Miami team, and you don't really need much to compete with them, right? Like, this Miami team isn't on fire or anything like that. These are 2 teams that you could say are struggling. Miami definitely. Washington, their last 10 and sort of their monthly split would look a lot worse had they not gone on a 8-game tear there. So give me Washington on the money line here. Neither one of these offenses really thrills me in their last 10. Washington 214 average against righties, Yuri Perez on the mound for Miami, and then Miami 212 average in their last 10 against righties, and they're only averaging 1.8 runs per 9. So Washington on the money line plus 140. I don't love it, but for that value, there is a chance that could become a final play. And then in terms of the total here, we have 8.5. Again, neither one of these offenses is really doing much for me. I have to lean towards the under. All right, guys, we got Cleveland taking on Tampa Bay here. Tampa Bay heavily favored at minus 180, but I think it might just be worth it. Is that kind of crazy to say? They are kind of back. I'm willing to say that this Tampa Bay team seems to be back. They've won 8 of their last 10 games, 4 straight games, taking 2 of 3 against the Yankees, then mini sweeping the Marlins team we just talked about, right? So give me the Tampa Bay Rays on the money line with Tyler Glass now on the mound, going up against Cal Quantrill, who just has looked like throw-upable as of late. His last 5 starts here, he's got a 5.6 ERA. He's pitching an average of 4 1/3, right? And now let me shout out his earned runs here in his last 4 games. 6 earned runs, 8 earned runs, 6 earned runs, and 5 earned runs. His hit total fills up a box score. You can barely get that many digits in there. So I'm fading the pitcher. Yes, you're paying a lot of juice. You can actually get it at minus 178 over in Caesars, which is a little bit more digestible, but if you can't handle that juice, then stay out of the kitchen, right? Stay out of the tea shop or whatever you want to call it, the juicery, because it is a lot of juice. But nonetheless, I do think Tampa Bay is the move here. And then in terms of the total, 7.5, I think I have to look at the over. This Tampa Bay team, though they're not going on tears offensively, they've had a couple huge games. 11 runs against Miami. They had a 7-run game against New York. Huge games against Colorado when they played the Angels, which was just about 2 weeks ago. Had a big, like, nearly 20-run game. Give me the over 7.5. Just seems a little bit too low, but we are going to really be relying on one team to kind of go out there and score a lot of runs, because I think Glasnow's going to have some success against Cleveland and make it tough for them to score runs today. All right, guys, before we continue on with this slate, I do want to talk to you guys about OddsJam. If you have not checked out OddsJam yet, you should do so today. You get 7 days free with the link in the pinned comment or the description, and you get 25% off your first month. It is kind of a no-brainer. The amount of tools that are packed into this platform to help you and I beat the books is absolutely absurd. If you're a plus EV bettor, a daily fantasy bettor, a fantasy bettor, a pick'em type player, a parlay player, single bet, anything, guys, they help you out as far as identifying the best odds out there, finding plus EV plays like I talked about. Tons of tools over on OddsJam. They even have a arbitrage betting platform that makes it super easy. If you don't know what arbitrage is, I did a video on it. It's a way that you can bet using multiple sports books. You can bet both sides of a play and win no matter what the outcome is, and they make it super easy to do so and identify those as well. So make sure to check out OddsJam. It helps support me too if you go and click on that link and just browse around. Maybe you don't sign up, maybe you don't do that, but go ahead and click that link and see if you're interested in mathematically dismantling any sportsbook that you're on, okay? And if you do choose to sign up, again, 7 days free with a 25% discount on your first month. It is kind of a no-brainer. Make sure to go check it out, guys. That link is in the pinned comment and or the description, wherever you want to find it, guys. I make it easy for you. Go check it out. And it also, like I said, supports your boy over here. So let's get back to today's slate. All right, New York Mets taking on the Seattle Mariners here. Seattle playing really good baseball. Their competition has been sort of bottom of the barrel for the last 3 series. They had Chicago, the Chicago White Sox, Kansas City, and then Oakland. But nonetheless, they've won 8 of their last 10 games. You have a Mets team that is just ultimately struggling. Senga on the mound for them today, which, you know, hopefully gives them some life. But nonetheless, that offense has just been kind of abysmal, and you have good odds for a better team here. Minus 120 right now over on DraftKings for Seattle. Give me the Mariners on the money line. We don't know who's pitching for them, which scares me a little bit and probably keeps us off from locking this in right away. But I'm not really afraid of Senga nonetheless in this spot. Seattle against against righties as of late have been pretty good as well, batting nearly 285 with 7 runs per 9, 7.5 hits, and a 382 on base percentage. I like the spot for them. Obviously, if they throw out some no-name schmuck, we probably stay away from this, but I really can't see myself betting the Mets as of late. What they did was 2 days ago, right, against Texas, scoring 6 runs was so out of the norm. They have been scoring like 0 runs as of late. So give me the Mariners here on the money line. In terms of the total, I don't really have a strong lean in this one. It's way down at 7.5. So I think I stay away from this because I want to take the over, but I just got finished telling you I can't really back this Mets offense, right? So I'm probably going to stick away from this total altogether. But I guess if I had a gun to my head, I would say, okay, fine, give me the over because it's a low number, and the Seattle team has been scoring a decent amount of runs here. And if you just look at what they've done in the season, Seattle 4.81 runs for this season, and then the Mets 4.34. So if they just do what they've done, they score over 9 runs here statistically, right? If they keep their trend up for the whole season. All right, Texas taking on Minnesota. Texas, another team, much like the Rays, that I'm starting to say, okay, I think they're getting back to what they were. They lost a bajillion games in a row. They've now won 3 of their last 5, 2 of their last 3. If it wasn't a sweep opportunity, I bet they end up beating the Mets yesterday as well. And they have Max Scherzer on the mound. He's got a 1.8 ERA in his last 5. The team is 4-1 in his last 5. I'm going to back them here. Going up against Joe Ryan, who had a really good start in his last start. Which was against Texas, honestly. So, I mean, take that with what you will. But prior to, guys, he was getting shelled, 7 earned runs, 4 earned runs, 4 earned runs, 3 earned runs. So give me Texas here. Decent odds as well. You're right around minus 150. I think that they could easily be in the minus 160. So I see a little value there, a little calculator in my head. Texas on the money line is going to be my play. Then we have a total sitting at 8 right now. When I say Texas is back, I mean back to winning games. Their offense still has been kind of like, you're not exactly the Texas from, a month and a half ago, right? Kind of cooling off at the wrong times here. So I'm also going to look at the under 8 in this spot. You have 2. I just got finished ragging on Joe Ryan, but still a talented pitcher, right? Max Scherzer, we know what we're going to get from him. So give me the under here in this spot. But I like Texas on the money line a lot more than I do the total in this game. All right, Milwaukee taking on Philadelphia here. 2 teams that have been hot this season. In the last 2 weeks or so, right? 2 of the hotter teams win-wise in baseball. Milwaukee did drop 2 straight here heading into the series. They lost 2 against the Cubs, and the offense seemed to cool off, whereas Philadelphia still kind of rocking and rolling from an offensive perspective. They're going up against Freddie Peralta today, who has been pitching really well. 1.4 ERA in his last 5. The team is 5-0 in his last 5 starts. Going up against Zach Wheeler. I've talked about Zach Wheeler before. He's a really underrated guy. When you look at his ERAs compared to his FIPS, it's kind of a tale of two stories, right? Like, or I don't even know what the saying I'm looking for there is, but a tale of two cities, tale of the tape, whatever. Nonetheless, it's like night and day comparing what his really like independent fielding pitching looks like compared to the team behind him. So I do think that he's a really underrated pitcher. Give me Zach Wheeler in the Philadelphia Phillies today. Again, that Phillies offense has just been on absolute fire, batting .295 against righties in their last 10 with 8 runs scored per 9, 7 hits here with this .368 on base percentage. And I also like the over. It's down at 7.5. A lot of low totals today, but this Milwaukee team has been scoring a decent amount of runs. Yes, like I said, it kind of cooled off in those last 2 games against the Cubs, but even against Zach Wheeler, I do see them being able to put up, 3-4 runs regardless of what the Phillies do. So that makes up just about half of what we're looking for in a total here. So give me the Phillies on the money line. I'm trusting Zach Wheeler and what is undoubtedly the better offense as of right now. And then in terms of a total, I do think Milwaukee's going to at least carry their weight. So I like the over. Actually, you know what? Phillies money line and the over both are super high in terms of a chance to be final plays here. I was going to say I like the money line more than the total, but I don't even know if that's the case. I like both these picks here today. Wouldn't be surprised if they end up in the final final plays in the pinned comments. All right, Red Sox taking on Kansas City. Red Sox did not look all that great against Houston, losing 3 straight, and it seems like they probably, to some degree, have given up on the season, but they're playing a Kansas City team that has no reason but to kind of give up on the season as well, right? So it's a little tough here. James Paxton getting the start for the Red Sox, going up against Jordan Lyles for Kansas City. I'm going to lean towards the Red Sox. Some serious juice to be paid here, -180. I don't trust them on the run line. As favorites on the run line, they've only covered at 3 of their last 10. They've missed out on 4 straight there as well. And then in terms of the total, I don't really love anything here. You have a Red Sox team trending towards overs, but for the wrong reasons. A lot of teams are scoring a lot of runs on the Sox. And then you have Kansas City here just trending in terms of an under direction. They're really not putting up any offensive numbers here whatsoever. So I'm sticking away from this total. Red Sox -180. Maybe that makes its way into a final play, but again, they've kind of given up on the year. The only thing that could get me to pull the trigger with something with this much juice is that I do think that this is kind of a bounce back, snap back to reality. Let's just beat a bad team type spot, but the Red Sox haven't been the best at beating bad teams this entire season. White Sox taking on the Tigers here. White Sox do pull one out against Baltimore. They win a couple days ago, 10-5. Prior to that, they just had not been playing all that great of baseball. But you have Detroit, who is arguably playing worse baseball, playing better teams, I would say. But nonetheless, I do think that, Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound for Detroit kind of changes things for me. He's been fairly inconsistent, but he's been going good start, bad start, good start, bad start. His last time out against Houston, 4 2/3 pitched, 4 earned runs, 4 walks, a home run let up, averaged nearly 21 pitches per inning, a bad start. So he's kind of due for a good start, and I do see him pitching against the White Sox in a good start sort of spot, right? Last time he played the White Sox here was back in late May. 6 innings pitched, only letting up 1 run, 6 strikeouts here, averaging almost just nearly 15 pitches per inning. So give me the Tigers here on the money line. The juice that you have to pay is a little bit, I was going to say astonishing. It's not. I'm over exaggerating there. But -135. I would have thought that these are more like -115 type spots. So I feel like there's not much value on Detroit, but I do still think that is the spot to go. I do like Eduardo. I can't say that today in this spot against the White Sox, and I can't really back the White Sox whatsoever. And we're looking at a total of 8.5 here. I guess I slightly lean towards the under because neither one of these offenses really kind of blowing my socks off as of late. And if I want to back one of the pitchers, right, I'm looking at Eduardo Rodriguez, who is going to kind of temper that White Sox bats that have actually been decent against lefties, but not all that great. So, Tigers offense has been struggling. I think that's going to continue. Touki Toussaint on the mound for the White Sox, by the way. Not that we even have to mention him. I don't think he's going to be a factor today, but I don't think the Tigers are going to go out there and score a bunch of runs. I think this is more of an Eduardo Rodriguez spot. Finally said it right, and, that's that. So give me the under as well in this spot. All right, Houston taking on the Yankees. Obviously, we do have, this is kind of like a rivalry in all of our brains with the numerous, playoff matchups and whatnot, but Houston just owns this rivalry. They've won 8 of the last 10 here. Last time they played, which was earlier in the year, earlier in August, right? Houston ends up splitting it with the Yankees, but this Houston team is just a different animal as of right now. They've won 4 straight games. They're whooping opponents, so give me Houston on the money line, but it's got to go into some sort of a parlay with the juice that we're looking at here. -190 on Caesars is the lowest you'll get most across sportsbooks, it's in the -200s, but still a little bit too much for me. If you want to consider Houston on the run line for +105 odds, I don't hate that whatsoever. I would say that, you know, they are on a tear and it could be a safe pick, but this is a rivalry, which games could be close and everything like that. Like they were, you know, earlier in the season too. A couple of those games were very close. I think the ones that Houston won, they blew them away, but the ones that Yankees ended up, you know, keeping close, they ultimately won. So the run line could be a little bit risky, but I don't mind Houston if you throw them in some sort of a parlay here with Verlander on the mound as well. He's a little bit better than Carlos Rodon on the mound for the Yankees. So I'll take Houston here. And then in terms of a total, 8.5 is what we're looking at. We have seen plenty of high scoring games between these two teams, but we've seen plenty of low scoring games between these two teams in the last year and a half or so. But you got to look at the over in this spot. The Yankees seem to be giving you a floor of around 4 runs, which is great in an 8.5 spot when you have Houston, who has just been putting up a bajillion. I think I said bajillion twice in today's video, so shout out to that. But they've been scoring a bunch of runs as of late, so I can't help but take a peek at that over 8.5 either. St. Louis hosting Pittsburgh here. We've seen this matchup obviously a bunch this season, and Pittsburgh has dominated. They've won 7 of their last 10 against St. Louis. And St. Louis, yes, they took 2 of 3 in their last series, but it was against the Padres. I don't really want to put too much weight into that, just like I'm not going to put all that much weight into Pittsburgh sweeping the Royals. Like, neither one of those teams are really worth, you know, writing home to mom and dad saying, hey, we won the series. What I will give credit to is Mitch Keller. I think that he's starting to get back. Now, I say back with quotes because who knows, right? The guy has been really good at times. He started the year really hot, and then he kind of fell back, and then he was really bad for a stretch. Now in his last 3, he is kind of back to pitching well. 1.35 ERA with a 105 WHIP here, going up against Dakota Hudson, who just has not looked all that great, whether you look at it all of his starts this season. His last 3, his last 5, nonetheless, none of those just really are all that enthralling. So I'm going to take the Pirates here. They're also batting against righties. Both these pitchers are righties. They're batting righties better than St. Louis's in their last 10. Not that great, but better than St. Louis's. So give me the Pirates here. They are underdogs. You can get them for even odds. They're actually -105, -102 on most books. On Caesars right now, they're +100. So I like that spot. They're coming off the sweep. Maybe they got a little bit of gusto in them right now. So give me the Pirates on the money line behind Mitch Keller. I'm trusting him today. In terms of a total, I'll take the over because I do think that these pitchers could get sloppy, and it's kind of a safety net. If Mitch Keller stinks, then I think this is an over game. But if Mitch Keller is good, I think that the Pirates pull this out. In terms of what could be a final play, Pittsburgh on the money line definitely has a stronger chance of being a final play. But, in terms of a lean, if I look at the total in a vacuum, I could see this getting kind of sloppy from the defensive and pitching perspective, meaning runs have to be scored. So in terms of this line as well, St. Louis, whether, you want to say that their offense has been contributing or others have, they've covered the over 8.5 here in 8 of their last 10, and then 7 of the last 10 for the Pirates have gone over 8.5. Colorado taking on Toronto here. Toronto just not in a place to be -188 favorites in this spot. Rui on the mound for them today. We don't know who's pitching for Colorado, but we do know the total is sitting at 12. And you guys know what I'm probably going to lean here, right? We're looking at the under 12 in this spot. I don't necessarily see a bunch of runs being scored here because Toronto just has not had, an offense that really has looked all that great. They're batting .215 in their last 5 here. In their last 10, .232. So nothing really overwhelming there. So give me the under 12 is my only lean here. If we do come up with anything else based on who Colorado is starting, maybe we end up throwing something out there, but keep an eye on the pinned comment for that. As of right now, we're only looking at the under. Next up, we have San Diego taking on the Giants here. Yesterday, the Giants ended up getting that win 7-2 against San Diego. I'll give them credit there. We don't know who's pitching for the Giants, which they just do this. They've been doing this crazily. So waking up early to do these videos, the Giants are always the ones that haven't listed a starter, or they end up throwing out an opener or something like that, right? But nonetheless, Michael Wacha on the mound for San Diego. I do expect them in some sort of bounce back spot here, but we got a couple comments yesterday being like, how could you ever trust San Diego? And you guys are right. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why I could lean San Diego, but never really make it a final play. Not a trustworthy team right now, as inconsistent as they come. And just in terms of their offense, too, has really been inconsistent. So I'll lean San Diego in a bounce back spot, but I don't care overly that much about this series or this matchup today. But we don't know who's pitching for San Francisco. So we'll see in terms of final plays when that comes out. But I wouldn't really expect, if you're scrolling down looking at the pinned comment, I wouldn't expect anything to be in this game. Oakland taking on the Angels here, two of the best teams in California. Yikes. We got Oakland. They're plus 128 right now. Their odds are moving quick too. I think they opened up around, yeah, the graphics more accurate as to what they opened up at, plus 140. Now you're looking at plus 128, plus 130. So it's moving in that direction fairly quickly, which tells me that books think Oakland's going to win this game. I can't really see it. Sandoval on the mound. Yes, he struggled, but it is the Oakland A's, and they're trotting out JP Sears, who just absolutely stinks. Last time he played the Angels here, 4 1/3 pitched, innings pitched with 6 earned runs. Give me the A's, the Angels on this in this spot here. Minus 148, a lot of juice. Probably keeps from being a final play. I'm just being completely honest with you guys, but I just can't get myself to bet the A's, right? So give me the Angels here. And then in terms of a total 8 runs, it can go two ways. This Angels team has scored a bunch of runs in their games as of late. That's because they played the Phillies and they kind of kept up with them, right? Is Oakland really going to kind of push the Angels to score a bunch of runs? I don't think so. So I lean towards the under, but it's a very slight lean, like lowercase, italicized, soft print, size 4 font, okay? And when I say lean, that's what I'm doing in this game. All right, Arizona taking on Baltimore. And guys, this may be the biggest trap of the slate. Right now, Baltimore's only minus 115 in this spot. They have the better pitcher, obviously the better offense, and they're playing better baseball. So I'm a little concerned with leaning Baltimore, but I think you got to do it. They've won 7 of their last 10. I think that they're going to bounce back from a loss yesterday or 2 days ago, right, against Chicago as well. Had the day off yesterday. Arizona getting swept by the Dodgers. They were playing good baseball before that, but the competition wasn't really there. I don't really see a world in which it makes sense that Baltimore's only minus 115. So I smell a trap, and I'm probably going to walk right into it and get my ankle chopped off by some sort of a bear trap here. But I'll trust Cole Irvin on the mound. Had been pitching really well. Had a rough start against Colorado just about a week ago. But, you know, I'll throw that one out, and you look at it, and he was only averaging, you know, 1 earned run a game before that. Going up against Zach Davies, who kind of the opposite, had been struggling, had a good start against Cincinnati, but they end up losing that game there. So, you know, give me Baltimore. Like I said, I'm not going to overthink it, not going to get in my own head about it. Smells like a trap, tastes like a trap, but I'm still going to eat the damn thing, okay? Give me Baltimore on the money line, minus 115. And then in terms of a total 9.5, Arizona has been trending in that direction, and Baltimore's obviously been scoring a bunch of runs as well. So I'll take the over 9.5 in this spot. I do think that, you know, it is a high number, and I'm not really banking on double digits here, but I think it'd be silly to lean towards the under when you have 2 offenses, and just the way the game's been going here. Whether Arizona's scoring a lot of runs or not, they're letting up a bunch of runs, and they've been cashing that over. Dodgers taking on the Braves. What a game last night. Stayed up to watch that one, and you know, it did not disappoint. Spencer Strider looked good. Lance Lynn didn't really look good. Cashed our over fairly easily thanks to him. Max Fried on the mound for Atlanta today, going up against Julio Urias. I do think this is going to be another good game. I'm going to lean the Dodgers in this one, but I think my main play probably ends up being the over again. Until we kind of see these two teams grind it out, I don't really think I can pass up an over in which we could cash if it's a single digit game. This could be a 5-4 game and still cash as we're sitting at 8.5. So my main lean is going to be the over, but I don't mind the Dodgers in a bounce back spot here. Max Fried, obviously a good pitcher, but I think that this Dodgers offense showed that even when they were down 6-1 yesterday, they lost that game 8-7. They came back. Mookie Betts played them phenomenally, that type of thing. So I do think that this is just going to be a good series all around. So leaning towards the underdog isn't really that bad of a move. But again, main lean in this one's going to be that over 8.5 until further notice. I think that is a fine play until we see that these two teams aren't going to score a bunch of runs, but they've been scoring a bunch of runs as of late. And if they just do what they've done on the season, like I said yesterday, Atlanta 5.83 runs for on the season, right, per game, and then the Dodgers 5.66. These guys are averaging as a combo unit here, averaging nearly 12 runs a game, and we have a total of 8.5. I don't care who's pitching. These bats are hot enough to consider an over there. And guys, that is all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know if you made it to the end of the video by commenting 28 in the comments. You're a real one if you did. The Guppies don't make it this far. We know that. Screw the Guppies, even though I love the Guppies because I'll bask in the hate all day long. I'm the one with the mic and the camera here. So if a Guppy wants to hate comment, hey, I got the power in my hand. But the real one, the OGs, you guys are the ones still watching and supporting everything we do here, which is absolutely crazy. Thank you guys so much. Hit that subscribe button if you are new. And if you made it this far, you might as well hit that subscribe button if you haven't, because that's crazy. You listen to this annoying voice for 28 minutes, nearly a half hour, and you haven't subscribed, hit that button, hit that like button, and comment 28 if you made it to the end. And I appreciate you guys. Catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.